Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. This is your Best Bets episode for Monday, March 17th in the association. We'll give you best bets. We'll give you props. We'll give you sides. We'll give you totals. We'll give you all sorts of stuff to bet. We have a big slate of best bets today. We have like 9 bets for you and a parlay. So we have like a loaded show for the best bet segment. For your Monday entertainment, hope you guys had a great weekend. Joining me for the future Jays, we got Joe Dellera. You can find him on Twitter in the Action Network app at Joe Dellera. He's rocking a basketball reference shirt like a true nerd. And you can catch him on the Cash That podcast as well. Filling in for Jim Turvey, who is frolicking through the fields of Vermont, I assume, making some sort of cheese and gonna weave a hemp basket or some nonsense, is Bryan Fonseca. You can catch him at Bryan Fonseca NY on Twitter and the Action Network app. He's at Bryan Fonseca on YouTube. And you can catch his Knicks show on the New York Post. Do you have like a name for that show?
New York Got Game Weekly.
New York Got Game Weekly. That's a really good name of a podcast. That's a really good name.
It's Dexter Henry's show, but
Very nice.
I do the live version with him because I've known Dexter for 10 years.
Well, there you go. So go check out Bryan if you are a Knicks fan, because I have come to learn that they're like termites, and everywhere that you look and you turn over something, there's a Knicks fan. If I go anywhere, there's just like a Knicks fan there, just randomly hanging out, yelling bing bong, overestimating their ability, denying that Tibbs is a minute addiction. We're going to start today with actually a conversation about a market that popped up because it's one of our favorite markets. We hit on it big. I hit on it big last year, and so I want to get back into it because I love this market. FanDuel has very graciously put up Conference Finals MVP. So, as a reminder, it's like it's basically just for that series. It's funny to me because it's like for the play. No, it's not for the playoffs. It's just for the Eastern Conference Finals. As you would imagine, Jason Tatum is the favorite at plus 130. Donovan Mitchell at plus 260. Jaylen Brown at plus 750. The reigning, by the way, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. Thank you for that last year, Jaylen. Kristaps is plus 1,800. Darius Garland's 21-1. That's a crazy line. Jalen Brunson is 21-1. Evan Mobley is 27-1. Karl-Anthony Towns is 30-1. Giannis is 35-1. Derek White's 42-1. We'll come back there. Tyrese Halliburton is 75-1. That's a reality I want to live in. Western Conference Finals MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is minus 135. That seems bold. That's a choice. That's a choice to put Shai minus 135. Yoke is plus 650. Luka's 11-1. Steph is 13-1. LeBron's 17-1. J-Dub is 19-1. Ant's 31-1. Ja's 37-1. Chet's 41-1. Jimmy Buckets is 43-1. Jaren Jackson Jr. is 50-1. Bryan Fonseca, let's start with you. East or West? What's a bet on here that you like?
Jimmy Butler 43-1.
You're sick, man.
Right back here. For those of you new to the show, Bryan is our resident Heat sympathizer. So while he does keep a very close eye on the Knicks, he has contributed to various shows in Miami and was betting the Heat money line pretty much every single playoff game of the 2023 playoffs. And as you can imagine, he made a lot of money and drove us nuts with it. We're like, are you going to bet Heat money line again? And Brian's like, yeah, I think I am. And then they win again. And we're like, God damn it. And then the next game would come and we're like, are you going to bet? You're not going to bet Heat money line now, I bet. And Brian's like, I think I am. And then he would win again. Like just over and over and over again. Warriors currently in the 6th spot. There is a chance, I think, that they can move up to 5. I don't think, looking at the board, they are currently 3 games back of 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a surmountable outcome if they continue to never lose. I kind of think that they'll probably wind up 5 or 6. Okay, make the case for it over Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Steph Curry mostly. Give me the argument for Jimmy Buckets Finals MVP or Conference Finals MVP.
Over Draymond Green is easy case. Steph is just like, Steph has had series where the shot isn't there as much as you would want. And even in the finals, people would bring up Kevin Durant winning finals MVP. I don't think Jimmy Butler's Kevin Durant. So I'm not saying that. But if Golden State were to get to that 4-5 and then win that series, obviously, because whoever does this has to win. If they're able to beat Oklahoma City, which I would not favor them to do, I think Oklahoma City beats them in a series. But we're doing what ifs. They will have a nice matchup in the conference finals. I don't know if it's going to be Denver. I don't know if it's going to be the Lakers. I don't know how it's going to shake out, Memphis, whatever the case may be. And Jimmy isn't as consistent in the playoffs as his reputation would suggest, but the highs are very high. And if there's any of that left, I think it'll leave an impression on voters. He has a conference finals MVP in a series that some people would have thought Caleb Martin should have gotten it, but I thought he deserved it. And at 43-1 for a team that I'm kind of buying a little bit more and more, like they could go on a run because the Western Conference is so weird and it's going to be very matchup dependent. Yeah, I'm worried that they don't have a center, but I think Golden State could take out a lot of teams in the Western Conference in the series. And if I'm looking for like a Steph alternative, because ultimately Steph would be favored by a lot to win that if Golden State were to get by, like Jimmy has enough of a resume to do it. And it's been impactful enough for Golden State where the one thing I've said about him consistently is every team he leaves gets worse and every team he joins gets better. For all the shit that comes with Jimmy Butler, that's just been the case. And it's proven again. And his impact on winning, granted, they haven't had the most rigorous schedule since he's been there, but the impact on winning is there. And I think that's something that could continue at the very least.
I mean, look, I don't want this to be a good bet, but it is. Like, it's a pretty good bet because narratively, more than anything, like Butler's the kind of player that the writers that will vote for this, which there'll be about 12, that they'll just select from the people on hand. He's the type of guy that those writers will just go gaga over. They'll just gaga. Oh, Jimmy, he was just so tough. So tough. Oh, he's such a winner. Such a winner. That I think that there's actually a lot of value there. If you look back, it is kind of fun to look at it as chart. You go by like game score, which is just basically like a very crude kind of box score indication night to night. It does make a lot of sense because it's like game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals versus Miami, 31. Next game, 23. Next game, 15. 24. 13. 20. 20. It's really kind of how it goes. I must mention this again, that 90% of the Jimmy Butler playoff Jimmy concept is built around playing the Milwaukee Bucks. He has 2 absolutely legendary, 90%? Insane performances versus the Milwaukee Bucks in the 2020 bubble and in the 2023 first round series versus Milwaukee, where he went for 56 in game 4 of that game. And that was like an absolutely 56 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Like, he was insane. The entire series, he was insane. And then, like, he got banged up in the Knicks series and his ankle kind of hurt. I get it. Caleb Martin definitely deserved to win that conference finals MVP. I don't know what you know. Yeah, that was a ludicrous conference finals MVP award. And then he got to the finals and gotta be honest, kind of shit the bed. Just like ran out of gas and was not good in those finals. And there was no chance for them to win. But also, if you're playoff Jimmy, shouldn't you be great in the finals? And the answer is like, well, probably not. Now I will say this: if the Warriors are facing the Bucks in the Western Conference Finals, I think
but to be fair, I think the mystique, if you will, actually started in the finals, the 2020 finals. I think it started against the Lakers because I think people were surprised. I think people were surprised that the Heat pushed them to 6 with injuries to Bam and Goran Dragic in game 1. And I think people were surprised that they got 2 games from a Lakers team that, that was still, we still thought of LeBron as peak LeBron. And pre-pandemic, LeBron James was looking like the MVP of the league. It looks like it was going to turn, and then we had COVID. So we didn't get to see that
series, and then there's 6-game series. Like here's how he scored in that series: 23, 25, 40, 22, 35, 12 in the final game of that series. Like
but two triple doubles in the finals opposite of the Lakers in a series where people didn't expect that out of them. And they weren't supposed to get there to begin with. Like before the season, I was one of the only people high on them. Like, hey, they can get to the conference finals. I didn't think they were going to get to the finals until, honestly, they matched up with the Celtics. And I was like, yeah, they're going to beat the Celtics. And they did.
Boston gagged that series. Boy,
they really blew that one.
Yeah. And then,
all right. I like the bet, though. I don't mind it. Joe Dellera.
43-1.
Yeah, 43-1. Joe Dellera, where do you like?
So I'll just stick with the Western Conference for now. I have an Eastern Conference one too, but while we're on the West, I think Anthony Edwards is interesting. There's a 33-1 at Bet365 for him. My issue though is that like the line is almost the same as the Timberwolves odds, like their best price to win the Western Conference. So I think that's the kind of thing that you have to do here when you're going through this market is like you really need to balance it and say like, all right, well, like there's multiple 30-1s for the Timberwolves to win the West. Do I need is it worth the extra like $3 to narrow it only down to Anthony Edwards? I think it's highly improbable that they could win the conference without Anthony Edwards being the guy that wins the MVP. That's the best player on the court in the entire series. But at the same time, I think you also kind of need somebody else to really step up. Like it can't just be a one-man show. Like if you get a crazy Julius Randle series, if you get a crazy Naz Reid series, or like if Dante DiVincenzo is just shooting the absolute lights out for 7 games, what does that do for you? So for me, with some of these spots, it's hard to bet players that I think could be good for this when the price for the team isn't super far off of what that number is anyway, and you're really just cutting off all your outs.
Do you know who the leading scorer is for the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Oklahoma City Thunder this year?
Naz Reid?
It's Naz Reid.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
22.8 points per game on 45% from the field, just 29% from 3. Notably, he's just gotten a lot of shots up. Randall has only played 1 game against them.
Yeah, he was hurt.
I kind of like. So this is an interesting question of like if you get there, right? Like who do you want? What do you want? Like we were always like trying to be like, how can you position yourself well? And Randall at 250-1, I think is like an interesting case.
Yeah.
The problem I think with Randall is, from this perspective, is I don't know if which side of the bracket Minnesota's gonna wind up on.
Yeah, it's super in flux right now. And honestly, like I would rather just have the 30-1 ticket. Like I would rather just have 30-1 right now and just say like, all right, I'll figure it out later. If I see the matchup, like Ant is gonna be favored. Randall's still gonna be probably like 12-1.
Yeah,
Naz Reid's going to be like over 10-1, like at that point. So if I felt like I wanted to add something there based on matchup, I'd rather wait. So it's definitely a little bit tougher. Another one that I saw that I think was very long was I think I saw Şengün was like 150-1.
No, stop that.
I don't think the Rockets are going to go anywhere. But
come on.
But the number, it's way out of whack. The Rockets are 60-1 to win the West.
What should that number be?
Thompson at 200-1. He's their best player.
That's true. What should that number be, Joe? What do you think?
What for Şengün?
Yeah,
I don't know. 100.
I was gonna say 80.
Maybe like 90, 80-1.
Hang on.
It's still like unlikely.
I'm gonna make us do this because this is a gambling show. Okay. So what's the number on Şengün right now?
Let me see.
I think $1 million.
It was I think it was 150-1.
I think it's lower. I think actually.
I'm seeing 130.
The market is getting steamed. It's getting steamed, Joe Dellera.
David's doing it to us right now.
Okay, 130 to 1 is 0.76 implied odds. So
Yeah.
a 3/4 of a percentage point.
I would take
100 to 1 is 0.99. You're talking about a differential of 0.23
I know, but the
from the
payout's
implied odd
different.
differential.
The payout's different.
So
quarter
let's
of a
actually do
percent.
this. Give me. You don't have to get this exact. I am asking you to ballpark. What do you think is the percentage chance that Alperen Şengün wins conference finals MVP?
I think if the Rockets are there, probably like if the Rockets are there, I think it's decent. I think like if the Rockets win, I think that he is
But
still
we can't start from that position.
No, but it
is.
is.
You're saying right now, right,
Because
Matt?
the only thing that matters is if the Rockets win, how
Sure.
do they win? And it has
Yes,
to be that he is awesome.
I understand, but we have to factor in the odds of them winning in order to justify the bet.
No, like I don't think. I'm just saying. Like I think I said the number. I think is interesting.
Is it a 2? Give me a number. Is it 2% chance?
Two. 1%. Say
1.5.
1.5. Okay, we're gonna do 1.5%. So the correct odds are 6,566 to 1.
See, that sounds about right. That's in line with their odds.
Right. So
That's
you're getting
between Jaren Jackson and Jamal Murray, for what it's worth.
So you're getting $70 on this on a value. That's where you're getting this.
Am I gonna
You're
bet
getting
it?
$70
Probably not. But like, I'm
Right.
just throwing it out there. It's an interesting number.
Me, hey guys, we need to do this for the content. Joe provides the content. Matt, what are you doing, you fuckwad? How could you do this? Joe's like, I'm giving you what you want.
Matt puts it Matt immediately puts it into a parlay.
Immediately. Yeah. Okay. So I have already bet two parlays. They are the one, and I will bet just straight bet. That's not putting the app. Luka 11 to 1 is stupid. It's just stupid. That's a ridiculous number. The Thunder do not like playing Luka Doncic. I can tell you that. That's a fact. No, I don't think anybody is like woohoo. But there are teams that I think are like Boston. Literally, I think really is like. Yeah, I mean he's good, but we got it. It's fine. The Thunder are not one of those teams. They're just not built to handle the kind of pressure that he exerts with how he plays. With Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura, they have something like a plus 15 net rating. And the model is very simple for this. It's been funny because like I was like, I'm buying the dip as hard as I can on the Lakers because it's like, well, LeBron got banged up, so they're going to not be as good. And I'm like, LeBron doesn't matter. I know that sounds insane. I get it. He's so good. He still is. He absolutely is. I'm talking about the team construct. Do you want to know how you build a winner around Luka Doncic? Give him 2 wings that can defend, 1 rim rolling big who can switch. That's all you have to do. Give him 2 guys in the corners to throw to, and 1 guy to throw lobs to. That's it. That's all you have to do. Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith. Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Bronny James, fucking all these other guys don't matter. They don't matter. Those guys are what matter. Rui, Finney-Smith, Jackson Hayes. That's what you need. And that combo can make a finals run. That's how good the combo is. You throw in LeBron and it's like, that's even better. You throw in Reeves, that's even better. 11 to 1 is preposterous. LeBron I might have to hedge it with LeBron because it's very possible for LeBron to win a conference finals MVP at age 40 because he's a cyborg. But that's absolutely ridiculous. So I have a bet on Luka Doncic, Donovan Mitchell. That is at FanDuel plus 42.20. And I have a parlay on Luka Doncic and Derek White. I think Derek White has been the most important player for the Boston Celtics this season. I thought the same thing about Jaylen Brown last year. Jason Tatum is their best player. He's their best player. He's the most talented. He does the most stuff. He does the most production. He sacrifices the most, honestly. Jason Tatum is the best player. However, last year, I was like, Jaylen Brown is why the Celtics have had so much success. This year, Derek White is why the Celtics have had so much success. And I can absolutely see Derek White hitting a fuck ton of threes in a conference final series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, or if they get upset some random team, and Derek White winning conference finals MVP much the way that Jaylen Brown did. Because whoever it is going to just be like, we just got to stop Tatum. Head of the snake, got to stop Tatum.
Yeah.
And when you do that, Derek White is the one that kills you. Derek White, Luka Doncic as a parlay. Derek White, by the way, by himself is 42 to 1. That's a good bet. Luka and White together is 515 to 1. I will bet that. I'm sorry. If you will allow me to parlay these things, I will bet it, because what you're doing is you're giving me the opportunity to game theory out the rest of the bracket, and that's what I like.
Yeah. I like I think it's a great bet just relative to the market too, because Bet365 has Derek White at 25-1. So, one of these is off. I think the 25-1 seems a little bit conservative. They already got, he would be the fourth Celtic under 25-1. So it's I think the 42-1 makes a little bit more sense, at least in terms of what the odds are, but you may as well get the best price. My guy for the Eastern Conference is, I like Donovan Mitchell. I think that you're getting good. I think you're getting good value even on the number, just based on the fact that if we look at the East right now, the best price on Cleveland, there's a plus 205 to win the conference at DraftKings. I think if you can get plus 260 on Donovan Mitchell to win Eastern Conference MVP, you're getting yourself an extra 55 cents on that. Donovan Mitchell's the clear best player, at least in terms of what the scoring upside can be. And he has completely cooked Boston. He's also cooked New York. And I think that that's important, because Cleveland's definitely going to be the 1 seed. They are locked into the 1 seed at this point, unless they just go on a catastrophic losing streak, right? Given that, what the likely scenario is, that you're just going to play either New York or Boston, and most likely Boston. And Donovan Mitchell is putting up preposterous numbers. It's just auto bet over his PR every time against Boston. Just auto bet right now. That's how good he's been. And I think that, maybe Boston throws some more nuanced things at him in the playoffs, but it's kind of one of those things where Cleveland's probably not going to win if he doesn't step up. They're directly aligned with each other. So even if Boston does throw some more nuanced things at him, I still think at plus 260, it's a decent price for him. I think that Garland maybe could get there, but at the same time, I don't think there's going to be enough buzz around Garland or Mobley to take it away from Mitchell.
I think I really like Mobley.
I just don't know if he's going to get enough buzz, in any of those matchups. Man.
But he should be better than 27-1.
Yeah, so you still just need him to win. He has to win.
Well, so here's the thing, I think, on Mobley, right? And I get you're saying, we're just like, why don't I just take Donovan Mitchell, and then I'll bet Evan Mobley if we get there. And I get that. Mobley will be so much shorter at that point. For me, it's, if I look at how are the Cavaliers going to win the Eastern Conference, and the answer is one, they're probably going to have to beat Boston. And if I ask the question of what does a Cavaliers win over Boston look like, to me, it instead of Donovan Mitchell going crazy, to me, it really is Evan Mobley hits a ton of threes, kills Horford on the interior, and is able to be showcases himself as he's the best defensive player in that series, and he scores a ton. And I think that's very possible. Edge, if they are able to play two bigs and Boston can't play double big off the floor, or even if they play Jared Allen off and they have to go to Mobley and 4 shooters, that's only going to increase Mobley's opportunities for lobs and putbacks and everything else and rebounds. Mobley can be a better player than Kristaps Porzingis. He can be a better player in that series than Kristaps. So it's not that I don't like. The overall value on Donovan is great if you think that there's variance in who they're gonna face, because if it's Knicks, it's Donovan Mitchell. If it's Pacers, it's Donovan Mitchell. If it's Bucks, it's Donovan Mitchell. That might be Darius Garland, but Donovan Mitchell is very likely. But if it's Celtics in particular, if you're just the Celtics are making the conference finals, and I want to bet against them there, I do think that Evan Mobley has a lot of value in that matchup.
Yeah, I still struggle with it. I think even this year, he would have to be so much better than what he's been this season against both the Knicks and the Celtics, specifically even the Celtics, I think, to garner this bet. He's only averaging against both those teams 15 points a game.
Yeah.
It's not enough. You would have to jump from, not only would you have to be incredible defensively, he would have to jump from the 15, which I get, he probably plays more minutes. He probably plays closer to, let's say, 40 minutes a game, right? He would still have to jump from 15 to 22 when Donovan Mitchell's scoring fucking 35 points a night. Right. That's the thing. Mitchell's still going to cook.
Yep.
And like the other thing is too, I think we've noticed it with this award in particular. It's like it doesn't matter if your good games are in the losses, almost like it matters a little bit, but like the winning formula for Cleveland, like kind of I think it has to just be Mitchell Cooks, and because that you have to keep up with Boston's overall offensive performance. So I think that Mobley makes sense in terms of he might be the most important player for Cleveland, but I don't know if it necessarily translates to winning an MVP there.
I just want to take a second and tell Joe how proud I am of him that he did not give Karl Anthony Towns out on the podcast. Like, that's real growth. That's
I will say, okay, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
I just gave you credit for not doing
Cat,
it.
though. It wouldn't be Cat. Like, I think
Jalen.
If you look at the odds, like Brunson, the Knicks are whatever it is, like 9-1 to win the East. Brunson's 21-1, Cat's 30-1. I would, if I was like, I'm gonna pick one of these guys, it's Jalen Brunson, and I'm not gonna even think about it otherwise. Like, it's just he has to be unbelievable. And I think these matchups would be better for him anyway. I think Cat hasn't played great in these matchups against Boston or against Cleveland, but if I had to pick one,
Brian, unfortunately, Tyler Hero is not available on the list. Is there somebody from the Eastern Conference that you think has value?
Yeah, Evan Mobley. I mean, for the reasons you outlined, where if you look at how Cleveland has to win that series, Evan Mobley probably has to make the biggest jump. Like, Donovan Mitchell has played really well against them. Evan Mobley has been a little bit more up and down. And if Evan Mobley has a good, consistent series where I agree, I would think he is making threes in that series. He's getting rebounds. He's making an impact defensively. The versatility is going to be problematic if he's converting a lot from inside the paint also, where you can hurt Boston there. Like, that's going to be one of the pathways to do it. I think he should. I don't know why Darius Garland is ahead. I mean, I guess it's because from a scoring perspective, that makes a lot of sense. But to me, it should be Mitchell and then Mobley for Cleveland. And then I sort of just looked around and I'm like, I don't hate. I'm not going to bet Jaylen Brown, but I don't hate it at 750. Given that last year he just won this, but I don't really want a Celtic. Like, I think I'm cool with like seeing when we get there if I want to hedge off of a Cavs position. For me, I'm content with just Mitchell and Evan Mobley at this point.
Let me translate that for you. Bryan Fonseca will bet on the Celtics when someone physically grabs his hand and forces him to click the button to bet on a Boston Celtic. That is when Bryan Fonseca will bet on the Celtics. All right, good discussion there. You can catch those bets in the Action Network app. We're going to do best bets, but first off, I need to let you know, if you're listening to this show, you're probably like betting as much as I do. And when it comes to betting, there's two things that you're always trying to do. Make it easier, make it more profitable. And that's why we partnered with Edge Boost, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account that pays you for every deposit. Because with Edge Boost Visa debit card, you get up to 0.5% cash back on all your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. That's free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already doing. It's a no-brainer. This is not a credit card gimmick. Nothing like that. No catch, no hidden fees. I've opened my own Edge Boost account. I use it to transfer money in. It makes it super simple, super easy. It takes all of the stress work that can sometimes happen with those weird, hey, we flagged this. Is this right? Oh, no, we're going to decline this. None of that happens. There's no minimum balance requirements. And if you've ever had a casino transaction flagged by your bank because they thought it was suspicious, or if you've been given the runaround at a sportsbook account trying to fund it, the Edge Boost debit card is the perfect tool. It starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and you'll never be declined for gambling activity. It's why you're going to be so happy that you opened an account. Make your betting life easier and stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to sign up. And if you use promo code BUCKETS, that's promo code BUCKETS, and deposit $25, you'll receive a $25 deposit match plus Tier 2 status for faster bank deposits and more cash back. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code BUCKETS. Let's do best bets for Monday. We'll go around the association. I'm going to jinx it because the run has been good. It's time. I haven't said anything because I don't believe in jinxing things. Guys, I am 9 days in the green. I'm on a 9-day winning streak.
Oh, that's something, actually.
Mine just got snapped. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a good March. It's annoying because I hate March basketball, and yet all of the bets I keep making keep winning. So I have to kind of be like, oh, good, I can bet the nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. Great. It's been a good week though. Let's go around the horn. We'll do our bets on for the association on Monday. Joe Dellera, let's start with you.
So I obviously have to have a Knicks prop here. I like OG Anunoby over 23.5 points plus rebounds. And this is a little bit of a speculative line right now, but I like Russell Westbrook over 21.5 PRA. I'd imagine it's going to open up at more conventional books around the same number overnight.
All right, some very serious props, some very, very sharp angles there. Bryan Fonseca, what do you have, buddy?
One book has this right now. We'll see if the others get to it. One book has Heat first half, Knicks full game plus 500. They also have Heat first quarter, Knicks full game plus 360. And I'm also going to take Bam Adebayo under 9.5 rebounds.
So he has 3 bets on Heat Knicks as somebody that has appeared on podcasts for both the Heat and the Knicks. I appreciate you branching out, sir. You can catch his Kings Grizzlies game guide, by the way, at actionnetwork.com. He's super excited, right? I've got 4 sides. Warriors -5 versus the Nuggets. Lakers -9 versus the Spurs. Grizzlies +2 versus the Kings. And Raptors +8.5. I will also play an alt line on Memphis, but we'll get to that when we get there. Yeah, we got 4 bets on Heat Knicks, so let's start there with this one. As the Miami Heat take on the New York Knicks, they are in what I have described as a terminal velocity tailspin. They cannot pull out of the nosedive that they are in. The line is 7.5. Based on full season numbers, I only make this 3, so I am staying the hell away from it because I'm definitely not trying to catch a falling knife with the Miami Heat as they plunge into the darkness. But let's start with Bryan Fonseca and tell me about first quarter and first half separately. Heat and then full game Knicks.
The last time they played each other, March 2nd, this game went to overtime. The Heat were winning 27-22 after the first quarter. At halftime, because they had a great second quarter, they were up by like 17 points, and the Knicks came back and won. On October 30th, this was very early on the year, Jimmy Butler was still a member of the Miami Heat and played in this game, but still, the Heat were winning by 6 at the end of the first quarter, by 6 at halftime, lost the game. For 2 years now, the Heat have been among the worst fourth quarter teams in the NBA. Last year, they were second to the Suns. I think this year they're fourth to last or something like that. And all the teams below them are not sniffing the playoffs. This is what they do. For whatever reason, Eric Spoelstra, I think, is as good as any coach in the NBA. He has not been that guy for 2 years. I don't know if he could be with this roster because the roster, I don't think it's bad, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not complementary to one another. And the Knicks, a team that they've had their own fourth quarter adversity throughout the year. Some would say due to Tibbs, but I won't go there. They play very well against the Heat in fourth quarters. They did last year as well, by the way. I think last year was, Joe, I think you remember this, where the Heat blew like a 20-point lead in the second half against the Knicks or something along the lines in Madison Square Garden.
It was awesome.
This is 5-1 on one book for Heat first half, Knicks full game. And then the other one is nearly 4-1 for first quarter full game. I'm hoping one of those hits. I'd be thrilled if both of them do. And the way the Heat are playing right now, like they're going to have a game where they bounce back and they play fuck you basketball and they finally like put it all together. And I think we may see that in this game for a quarter or a half, not for the full game. So I think this could very well hit even without Jalen Brunson.
In the last 10 games, the Heat are 5-5 in the first quarter against the spread. So that's actually better than you would think, given that they've been absolutely horrendous in this stretch. So that's not as bad as I actually thought it was. And they're 8-2 in the last 10 in the first half. Those are good numbers. That's quality. That's really good.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is a very good cap on the game about how, and it like kind of reflects how Miami like gets to a certain point and then it's just like, bleh. 5 Reasons Sports, which is a really good podcast. 5 on the Floor has been talking about how Tyler Hero really gets gassed at the end of these games, that he's just worn out from trying to be the number one option. He's never had to do this before, and he's just gassed. And that's me. Like the Knicks will power through and get the win, but I like this. I like this angle quite a bit. Tell me about Bam under 9.5 rebounds real quick.
Hasn't gotten in 3 straight against the Knicks, and with this, there's just going to be a lot of bodies. So you have Khalil Ware, which that there's one on his own team. Mitchell Robinson's back. He's not playing a huge role, but he is playing a role. And Karl Anthony Towns is playing. And OG Anunoby also is not that's not a non-factor in terms of rebounding. Against the Heat. The Heat, they don't rebound as well as they should on a consistent basis. And Bam, this feels like a game where I actually don't hate his over in terms of points. Like he can score against Karl Anthony Towns against the Knicks. He's done it in the past, but I think the rebounds are going to be difficult to come by. So 9.5. He hasn't had a double-digit rebound game against the Knicks in a while. And he's not starting at center, quote unquote, anymore. Like there's just going to be a lot of other guys there that are going to be contributing on the glass. Tyler Hero is actually one of them who, as a rebounding guard, like that's one of the things he does. So I like the under here, albeit it could be a slight under.
I think the changes for the Knicks substantially. That tracks that they'll probably be better in that regard. They're also, I don't know if they're gonna have to play as much switch in this game as possible as they did. I wonder how much zone they'll play versus the Knicks. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like Ware kind of throws it off a little bit too, because Ware, like you almost can only play a drop. Right. So if, with that kind of scenario, if you have Bam kind of roaming a little bit more in that like Jaren Jackson role, I think that probably impacts a little bit more of what he can do from a rebounding perspective as well.
Yeah. Joe, you like OG Anunoby over 23.5 PR.
Yeah, I mean, the thing without Brunson is, a lot of us have been talking about, when I say us, I mean Knicks fans. We're talking about, Mikal Bridges taking a step forward, and he definitely has. But the guy that's really kind of grabbed the bull by the horns is OG Anunoby. And it's one of those things that I think is a little bit interesting. I think it also kind of went like a little bit under the radar, right? Because when he got traded from Toronto, one of the things that he had talked about was he wanted a bigger offensive role. And we had seen him able to actually take on bigger offensive roles when somebody was out for them, whether it was, Pascal Siakam, when Van Vliet was there, if Van Vliet was out. And he did that. He took over that type of role. He can score from multiple levels. He can score off the bounce. He can score, obviously, as a spot-up shooter. And I think that he's going to get a lot of those opportunities here against Miami. The other thing is, without Jalen Brunson now, we've seen his usage rate climb every single game without Jalen Brunson. It's the first game he's played 5 games now without Brunson. He's gone over this line of 23.5 and 4 of the 5 and 3 straight. The more recent games, he missed in the first one without Brunson against the Clippers, but he's had usage rates of 22, 24, and 25% over the past couple of games. He's playing big minutes, and I just think that there's a lot of opportunity here for him. He sees his scoring jump by about 20 to 20, like between 20 and 25% per 100 possessions. And against this Miami team, who, if they're gonna play some drop, he's gonna beat them by shooting some threes. And if they're trying to play some sort of zone, that's gonna be a little bit difficult for them to stop Anunoby, who can spot up from a variety of different spots as well. So I like OG here. He's been averaging in the 5 games without Brunson 27.4 PR. I just think it's a great opportunity for him to kind of take advantage of a Miami team that's been realistically just struggling a little bit lately.
Very nice. Very good cap. I like this. This is good capping by the two of you. Let's start with Warriors and Nuggets. So I've got Warriors -5 on this. I I don't know what to do because like power rating, I keep waiting for my power rating to catch up with how good the Warriors have been since they traded for Jimmy Butler, and it's still like, no, they're fine. They're okay. I'm like, no, they're really good. Like, they haven't lost a game. And Miles like, no, meh. And I'm like, shit. Okay. On the injury report, Jamal Murray's questionable, Nikola Jokic is questionable, Aaron Gordon's questionable. Aaron took off on Saturday night after the back-to-back in which the Nuggets lost to the Wizards. I'm in the locker room, and so I'm close to this team. And I will tell you that they are, like a lot of teams, they're not the only one. The Nuggets are at 0 on the gas tank. They're out of energy. They do not, they got hit with not only, like, you're 5 months into the season, you survived Jamal Murray being out and Aaron Gordon being out and battling through the Western Conference and doing all this stuff. And then the league is like, hey, how about a 5-7 in March? How about that? Is that good? And March basketball is just torturous, and the Nuggets are just waiting to get to the playoffs, and they're probably not good enough to do anything once they get there anyway. But nonetheless, they are on empty. Even Christian Brown, who's young, he's never played this many minutes. Like, he's gas, you can tell. Jamal Murray suffered an ankle sprain on Saturday versus the Wizards, left the court, tried to loosen it up, came back in and played. There was a key rotation late where he literally could not plant to go make the rotation. Now, he hit the game-tying shot because Jamal's a psycho, but I would not be surprised if this thing is swelled up and they got to sit him. Jokic is on the report with that elbow that he suffered in the OKC game. It has bothered him. It has continued to bother him. He also is wrapped up almost completely in ice when he's on the bench and in the locker room. Aaron, that calf does tend to tighten up, and you want to be very cautious with it. I'm just not going to be surprised if multiple starters are out for Denver. I'm not going to be surprised. And so this would inherently have value. Even if they all play, Denver hasn't been good on the road, and Denver is horrific versus good teams. They can't beat good teams. Their record is abysmal. I believe they're 2-15 versus top 3 seeds in each conference. Or top 4 seeds. They're terrible. Like, they can't beat good teams. They can beat pretty good teams. They can't beat anybody elite. They just can't do it. OKC is the only team that they've gotten 2 versus. So with the Warriors playing the way they are, with the injury situation as it is, and them on the road, I will go ahead and I will lay 5 with the Warriors. I think Golden State gets this win, and I think they cover. I'll take Warriors -5. Now, all that injury information leads Joe to the idea on a prop. Joe?
Yeah, so I like Westbrook over 21.5 PRA. I think it's a good bet, even if everybody does play. He's hit the line in 57% of games this season, but if you start picking away like one player at a time, right? Without Aaron Gordon, 70% of games this season. Without Jamal Murray, 67% of games this season. Without Jokic, 67% of games this season. And if you looked and said, well, maybe Murray and Gordon don't play, averaging 35 PRA in those games, has not played any games without all 3 of Jokic, Gordon, and Murray. So I just think that if anybody sits, if there's one player that sits, I think it sets up pretty well for this. And also, if we look at Golden State's not like a particularly big team. This is a spot where Westbrook can continue to cut, continue to get some rebounds, get out in transition, continue to find different opportunities for everybody else to score by dishing the rock. So I think that there's plenty of opportunity here for Westbrook. I like the PRA, grab the combo stat. And Golden State's also another team that you can get to the rim against, because I know it's a little bit wonky with some of their stats. Like, I know right now they actually give up the fewest attempts at the rim based on some of the advanced tracking data, but I do think it's a little bit wonky because they are giving up a lot of points and a lot of opportunities in the paint. So some questions probably around that. But either way, I think it's a good spot for Westbrook. I think that he can rack up these stats in really any of these categories. So at 21.5 PRA, if just anybody sits, this is going to skyrocket. So I'd rather get in now and get in early before that injury report kind of rules anybody out.
Brian, do you have a sense on this game?
No, not really. To be honest.
Dynamite podcasting, Brian. I like the Lakers -9. Luka Doncic is back, and he's got Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura. You should wait on this. It's fine. Like, I need to do this for the podcast, but you get to wait. Wait and see if Luka plays tomorrow. Wait till the injury report comes out at 1 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, so 4 in the afternoon East Coast time. Just wait and make sure that the injury report for the Lakers is clear and they're not going to rest guys versus the Spurs. I think they play because it's double home back-to-back. That to me makes a lot of sense. The Lakers -9, I'd make this substantially more, make it around 12. And with Luka Doncic and Jackson Hayes, if Luka has Jackson Hayes versus any team under 500, I want the Lakers. If he has Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith, I will like them on the spread at home versus any team that isn't one of the big three. So that's going to be where I'm going to be at for the rest of the season as far as the Lakers are concerned. Grizzlies +2. I'm going to play an alt line here. Grizzlies -4.5 as well. I do not have any sort of way to get to this idea that the Grizzlies should be underdogs on the road to the Sacramento Kings. That's preposterous. I make this 6. That's fully healthy. Let's take off a point for Ja, which I think is generous because Ja just hasn't been impactful this year. Just hasn't been. If we take this off, I've still got this Grizzlies -5. I've got a full 7 points of value here based off a model, and this one I do feel pretty good about as far as like being able to get a projection done on this. The Kings are 36% against the spread at home. The Grizzlies are 58% against the spread on the road. Memphis, I think, really got a turnaround moment in that Tony Allen, by the way, shout out, first team all defense, in their win on Saturday night. I think that was like a turning point for them getting back to who they are. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the team's best player, and he's not out. I think they get the win versus the Kings and handle business. So I will absolutely take Grizzlies +2 and an alt line with them as well. Fonseca?
I'm probably taking Grizzlies money line here. Spoiler alert for the game preview. Although people may see that before they see this, I have no idea. Probably not. Grizzlies money line, but also we don't have props on this game yet at the time we're recording this, but I'm looking for Desmond Bane. I'm looking for Desmond Bane overs for this game.
Yeah, I like that. I also think that I was just looking at some of the game logs against Memphis, and both Levine and DeRozan cook. They both score very, very well. Granted, they haven't played really well. I guess they have played together. I was looking at the thing. I was like, oh wait, no, like these games are all old. I'm like, oh wait, actually no, they did play together. Yeah. So they both have had some success against Memphis. I don't know. I haven't dove into the whys so much right now, but they both have had success over the last couple of years. DeMar is averaging 27 points a game. Levine is averaging 29.4 points per game over the past couple of seasons. So maybe something to look at for your game guide. I'm sure Bryan will let us know more about it tomorrow.
I hate betting on the Kings. This is the other part of this.
I don't want to hear about it, okay? I did the game guide for Cavs Magic and was like, there's zero reason to bet the Magic here. Everything says Cavs.
Oh, Jesus.
What could possibly go wrong?
March noon game.
March Madness in the NBA is very different than March Madness in college basketball.
Different.
Yeah. College basketball March Madness is super exciting. There's upsets. There's people who become stars that you've never heard of prior. And March Madness in the NBA is everybody sits. Everybody plays like shit when they're not supposed to. Everybody like just plays under expectations, and it's just a slog, and it's just not fun to watch. Get me to the playoffs.
So hope you guys are excited to watch some basketball and bet on it. Great job promoting the sport, Bryan. The Suns are -8.5. The Suns are, it's true. The Suns are -8.5 tomorrow, which, by the way, you can catch over on the Great Playmaker pod for Shaquille O'Neal. Suns are -8.5 versus the Raptors. Raptors are going to sit people. We know this. They're honestly, they're playing so well. The level to which they have to go to tank these games is hilarious. The Raptors all year have been cover, don't win. I think Suns win. I think Raptors cover. Because I think the Suns are probably going to sit guys too. This is a back-to-back travel spot for them coming back home from LA. I just think that they're probably, I don't think that KD, Book, and Beal we know is not going to play, even though Beal's a negative. They'll have to set guys. And so I don't think that this number is reflective of what this is actually going to be. I don't really care if the Raptors sit Scotty Barnes because they have guys that will actually step, they play. Darko's coaching pretty well. and he's coaching the tank very well too. I will probably look at Raptors cover Suns win too as a potential parlay as well, so you can check that out as well. To go over the best bets. Oh, by the way, Joe Dellera found this. Suns to win by 1-10. You can get it plus 210. That's a very good bet.
Can I throw in one more?
What?
Raptors first half, Suns full game.
Sure.
Plus 550.
Sure.
just throwing it out there.
Hey,
This is
everybody's got their thing. Get in on it. I like it. I like those bets. I like betting those better than I like betting props, Joe Dellera, because they drive me nuts. All right. I've got Warriors -5, Lakers -9, Grizzlies +2, Raptors +8.5. Joe Dellera has Westbrook 21.5 PRA over. OG Anunoby over 23.5 PR over. Bryan Fonseca likes Heat first half, Knicks full game +500. Heat first quarter, Knicks full game +370. Bam Adebayo under 9.5 rebounds. Raptors first half, Suns full game. And that's
Grizzlies
gonna do
money
it for
line.
and Grizzlies money line. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure to check out the show tomorrow. Oh, I have to remind you, we also are going to do a parlay because parlays are great. Here's the parlay that we're going to do. We got 4-gamer. Warriors money line, Grizzlies money line, Wolves money line. Pacers are going to sit everybody. They're extremely banged up. Everybody's out. Siakam's out. Hallie's questionable. And Knicks money line. So Warriors to beat the Nuggets. We talked about that one. Grizzlies to beat the Kings. That's our underdog. Timberwolves to beat the Pacers. And the Knicks to beat the Heat. That is plus 474 at DraftKings. That's your 4-game parlay for buckets. My thanks to David Payne, our producer. Brian Rubino, Gifford Gould, getting this up at youtube.com/Action Network, the Action Network. We will see you again tomorrow night for more best bets for the Tuesday slate. Have yourselves a great Monday. Until next time, let's get buckets.